Hello, my name is Mark Bonica. I'm an associate professor and chair of the Department of Health Management and Policy, and I am also the internship faculty advisor. I want to thank you for agreeing to be an internship preceptor for our students. We are very proud of our students, and we're proud of how we bring the community into the classroom and how we send our students out into the community to work with individuals like you to get a realistic preview of what their futures might hold and for them to integrate the academic didactic experience that they've had so far in the field and have you help them see what their futures actually look like. Some of the recent internship sites that have supported our students are listed here. I want you to know that they've had an extensive preparation through their junior year of all these courses that are meant to give them kind of a baseline to go out into the field. So I want to cover very briefly what the requirements of the internship are. First and foremost, it's a 400-hour educational experience under the direction of an experienced preceptor yourself. They're going to do a macro organizational analysis, a departmental work unit analysis, a 40 hours of dedicated work on some sort of project or projects. And then finally, we're going to ask you to do an evaluation of the student's performance. So let me talk to each of these issues briefly. First, their very first assignment is going to be to develop a 400-hour plan for their internship. This is this is a sample in Appendix A of the Preceptor Manual, which I will send to you. We have a blank form that looks like this. You can use this as a guide. If you'd like to have it written a different way, that's fine. But I'm asking that you work with your student to develop a plan for their whole experience with you, which should be 10 weeks of full-time work. The macro analysis is in Appendix B of the Preceptor Manual, and it is a very structured series of questions that they're going to be expected to answer. It's sort of a scavenger hunt, and the focus is very much a high-level review of the organization. I like to think of it as sort of a outward, focusing the lens outward. It's sort of a board level perspective. Why does the organization exist? How does it fit into the larger ecosystem that it is positioned in? What does it market to? What are its finances? And this will require you to help them. They'll probably need you to introduce them to the finance office. They may need some help finding different elements. A lot of this they should be able to do on their own, like finding the mission, vision, and values. That's something that they should be able to do on their own. But the entire analysis is very structured, and they're basically answering a series of questions and doing some analysis. Then they do the departmental and work unit analysis. So the macro analysis, I'm going to ask them to have done at about week 3. That really kind of gets them grounded into the organization. And like I said, we have in the macro analysis, the lens is pointed outward. In the departmental or work unit analysis, we now turn the lens inward into the organization. And once again, it is a structured series of questions. And in this case, it's meant to have the student really look closely at the organization that they are assigned to. Now, some of our students are getting to work with senior executives in the senior leadership, the C-suite. If that's the case, a student should then pick an operating unit within the organization. So, for example, if you're the COO, if the preceptor is the COO of a hospital, the student should pick some subordinate organization like lab or HR, and then they go and they apply these questions to the work unit. And then finally, for the student's work, we ask that they do some project or projects that are really going to allow them to exercise their competencies. It should be something that allows them to work autonomously, with your guidance, of course. It should give them a chance to organize and problem solve and kind of plan. And they have a reporting format, which is in Appendix D of the Preceptor Manual. So if you take a glance at that, it should give you an idea of the kinds of things that they should be looking at. Toward the end of their experience with you, so around week 9, they should be submitting to you a self-evaluation, and they should be looking at the 7 competencies that are required for the internship. This is meant to help you have a conversation with them when you write their evaluation, which is due at the end of the internship. Some best practices to consider. If you can think about that internship plan prior to the student arriving, that would be great. Identify projects that are, of real value to you and the organization, and not just make work. Provide them some meaningful work. Shadowing is fabulous, but a chance for them to like dig in and do something is really valuable to us and to the students. And so finding a balance between shadowing and meaningful work is the best practice that we have seen. Encourage regular mentoring meetings. This has been something that's been done by many very successful preceptors. They schedule, say, a meeting on Friday afternoon to go over what the student has learned and participated in, who they've met, who should they meet to improve the experience. So that's basically the internship in a nutshell. I'm happy to interact with you at any point. Just reach out by email, or my office number is listed here. This information is also in the Preceptor Manual. I am always happy to take questions. Thank you so much again for doing this for us and for our students.